Healthcare, the worst performing sector this week. Those stocks rattled by worries over FDA leadership and what a potential executive order on pricing next week could mean for their outlook. For how she's positioning in the space, let's bring in Michelle Ross, CIO of StemPoint Capital, biotech and healthcare-focused investment firm. Michelle, great to have you with us.
Very nice to be here. Thank you.
So this is something that President Trump tried in his first term. It didn't work. The most favored nation, tying drug prices to lower prices abroad effectively. You think that it has a chance this time around?
I think he's going to try. I think that there are ways that he can start the implementation of a process like this. However, the complexity of the system, whether it's going to be specific areas within Center of Medicaid Services, this Part B, or is it Part D, we don't know the answers to many of these questions, and the kind of cumulative nature of all this uncertainty is really one of the big question marks here for investing in the space as well.
Right. There are a lot of ripple effects, though, too. I mean, if you think about, well, if they're going to peg drug prices here to lower prices abroad, drug makers can just raise prices abroad and create a new peg. So what are some of the things that we should sort of think through if this scenario goes?
I think it's a little bit of what we've seen in the past, that a lot of this is very aggressive headlines and more bark than bite in nature. I think we're going to see a lot of offsets and pushback from industry. I think we're seeing so many approaches to kind of go against the idea of high drug pricing. But on the offset, you have to look at innovation. And Trump has made the case that the U.S. is supporting this innovation curve for the rest of the world. If we are paying drug prices that are 3 to 5 times higher on average than the rest of the world, where is that offset? How do we find the pushback to be able to support innovation in the country? So there's many things that are being looked at. And I think from the offset, we have to understand where drug companies and innovation can be supported in all of this. And IRA and other different mechanisms that have been approached for drug pricing, I think are going to be part of the conversation as well.
This is just one of the negative headlines facing this group, your sector. There's also the appointment of Dr. Vinay Prasad. There is the nomination of Casey Maines, the Surgeon General. I mean, the list goes on in terms of sort of the obstacles or potential obstacles this industry faces. So how is the sentiment of your investors these days? How do you identify value when it seems like non-fundamental issues are impacting this sector wildly?
I think, it's unfortunate to say that we've been here before. It's not going to be a far stretch to say we'll probably be here again. It's an incredibly partisan issue to look at drug pricing and to make change and to impart your own flavor to an administration. I think what's happened in this administration versus Trump, in 45, was that we really did look for a playbook of how things would play out. So I think the pure shock of what is happening in this term with this administration, we like to see precedent. We like to understand how we can make the best decisions, both for our investors and how we look at our investment ideas. So we look to those moments in time to try to further understand and underwrite kind of a margin of safety or where our downside to upside is. Now, the prices of stocks in specifics, there's areas in the healthcare space that are giving you phenomenal ability to invest at these prices with the assumption that the risk is very well understood by certain communities. You're going to have these headlines, but I'll just give a couple quick examples. We're seeing a basic functioning of the FDA, an approval pathway decision, or a decision that in any other market would be assumed to be a baseline expectation, be rewarded with multiple times the effect to a share price. So when we see names in the rare disease group or in the oncology group, just baseline go through a decision, it's very good to see that reward come to the investors who have kind of stuck it out through those moments in time.
What is the philosophy that will get you through this sort of very rocky time? Is it going out and identifying the smaller companies, the biotech companies that have things in the pipeline that are not approved for market yet, sort of taking the bigger swing, or going to the more tried and true pharma stocks, which have a host of other issues, including patent cliffs to deal with?
It's a great question. It is the question we sit and think about all the time. And there is one area actually in the market that we look at and see one of the biggest kind of bifurcations versus any other market period where we've seen instability. And it is in that post kind of phase 3, so the latest stage pre-commercially drug can get to before the FDA stamps it with approval and lets it go on its way into the patient setting. Those specific stocks, because of this kind of burden of doubt of what the FDA is going to do have retreated 30, 40, even 50% post their positive data. And we've never seen this type of group, like 10 to 15 companies that have successfully embarked across, a potentially decade-long path to get to this point, be discounted so much on basically the effect that the FDA is going to function, that we're going to show the world that innovation not only matters, but it's going to reach patients. And that's an area where we feel as though we are listening to this administration. We are very tuned in and keyed into the companies that we're invested in as well, and understanding their kind of dialogue with the agency. And we feel like that is the singular best bet to be making in this market. Secondarily, pharmaceutical companies are going to be facing a very large issue around their patent cliff that's coming up over the next 5 to 10 years. We estimate it's about $400 billion of actual revenue that is going to go generic over that period of time. And the pharmaceutical complex made a decision about a decade ago that the innovation that they were looking for and the return on their capital was best found in acquiring assets in these small pharmaceutical, in the small biotech companies, and bring them in-house after that innovation had really played out. And that M&A curve that we believe is going to really come back with a vengeance. Mind you, we're in a very heightened time of uncertainty. When that does come back, there is a very limited time that pharma is going to have to be able to replace those revenues. So we think that's the prime spot to hit those phase 2, phase 3 companies that have shown success in the clinic already.